welcome everyone to another episode of In the Great Podcast. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had some great holidays with family and friends. It's your boy Marco, and I'm here with your other favorite co host.
Happy New Year. It's your favorite travel buddy, Megan.
There you go.
What up, it's your boy JK Kimchi Popping. Coming at you live from Echo Base. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, that was loud.
That was pretty loud.
Yeah.
That was pretty loud.
But it was okay.
It's
okay.
funny because the volume's down, like not even all the way that I
Damn.
usually have it.
Whoever's editing this, speakers are gonna go crazy.
It's
Welcome everyone. It's your main
Oh,
host,
'cause I-
Keiskyline.
because I had it. Okay, no, because I forgot to. You know what? We just won't go live. We'll skip the live. It's all right. Yeah, I don't know why it's not picking up the key, but we just won't. We'll skip the live. Okay. All right. So let me just do this so I can see the screen. Okay. Welcome back to Integrate Podcast. I'm your main host, Skyline. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? How was everyone? Good New Year's?
Good.
Good New Year's? Happy
Yeah.
New Year to anyone. I know this episode is going to air a little bit slightly afterwards, but Happy New Year's to
Still
everyone.
in the new year.
You got, well, you know, I'll start off with a New Year question. Anyone got any resolution?
No.
Jay?
To find a resolution.
Uh,
I don't have one yet.
something they want to attempt to do more of or less of this year. Like my resolution this year is to drink less. I say that while I'm drinking right now.
I know. Mind you,
To find less.
mind you, he has one in hand and he has another one on deck.
Yeah, to find less.
All right, so I drink every day, and even at work. But this time, I want to just try to record. I try to mostly just drink on the weekends because of like I have been out of shape and I've been getting exhausted lately, and alcohol is making me extremely sluggish, which is why I want to like reduce the amount of alcohol. That and the hangovers are like they are just like not. They're lasting a lot longer, basically. A hangover for me now lasts 2 days, easy.
We're getting to that age, man.
Yeah, it lasts 2 days. So I have to monitor how much I drink, or how much of it do I drink. But that's my resolution: drink less this year. Not quit completely, just drink less. That's all. Which I'm doing okay, maybe I'm not doing a great job right now. Well, you know, it's weekend, so it's fine.
It
But
starts tomorrow. You'll start your resolution tomorrow.
Yeah, technically it starts tomorrow, so on a weekday. But that's my resolution. All right, shall we get into the questions?
Let's do it.
Okay. In no particular order, we'll just go through these questions. Thank you to IG and TikTok for and Facebook too, actually, for sending us these questions. And I know sometimes we don't get into it until like a 2 or 3 weeks later. So in no particular order, I'm just gonna click anyone wherever my thumb is. What was the weirdest thing you ever seen another student did in school? So this you gotta think back to when you were in school. What's the weirdest things that you ever seen another student, not yourself, unless you want to expose yourself that you were the one who did that, but like I don't know, picking your nose or something. I don't think that's weird, but
I remember freshman year in high school, I went to the library, and near the back end of the entire library where nobody really goes, I'm walking by and I see these two kids. They're both guys. One of them was like lying face down on the floor, like completely flat on the floor, and all I hear him is telling his friend like, "Just step on me real quick." Yeah. Mind you, I was just walking by, but I heard them say that, right? And in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He wants to be stepped on?
it is a fetish.
And the thing is, I see his friend kind of hesitating. He's just like, what? Like he's confused too. But shortly after, I see the guy that was on the floor stand up and walk away, but he had his hands on his hip. So I'm gonna assume maybe it's some sort of like back problem. That's what I'd like to think.
You want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but to this day, I'm just like, what the fuck did I see? He's like, dude, just step on me real quick. I'm like, what?
I thought it was kind of hot. It has to be some
If
sort
I
of
heard a loud
fetish.
moan, like, oh,
Ooh, can I record this?
it's a library, dude.
Oh my
I
god!
think that's the weirdest thing I've seen.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's interesting. I mean, kind of like that is kind of interesting. Michael Q. I mean, Michael Meg.
I got nothing.
In-
Through any grade.
I
throughout
can't remember.
throughout undergrad, there's this guy, he just didn't wear shoes or socks. So he's like walking outside even when it's like negative degrees in the snow with his bare feet.
Whoa.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
he's one of those hippies that don't believe in the
Yeah,
footwear.
I don't know what he was trying to do, or I don't know his plan, but nobody wanted to sit next to him because his feet smells.
Oh no, I was gonna say
No.
like that's the worst.
Yeah, he's definitely one of
Yeah.
those hippies that don't believe in footwear.
It's like a lot of places you can't go in there unless you have like like the whole no shirt no shoe thingy, like
Yeah.
that rule. Yeah, so it's like pretty sure he gets
Yeah.
kicked out of a lot of establishments. That's interesting.
It's he's probably because like so when people don't wear sneakers or shoes or anything, it's because like your toes should be like spread out,
Mhm.
and so they're really into your sneakers and shoes. Really confine your toes and like close them in together. Because that's how nature is. Our toes are supposed to be spread out.
And there's a YouTube short which I don't know if it was a prank or not, but there's this couple where they buy shoes but they cut off the bottom part of the shoe.
Oh yeah, I've seen
Did
that.
you see that?
That's how they can get away with it.
So it looks like
They're wearing sneakers.
on top, but underneath it's just bare soles.
Yeah,
They
Oh.
must have some tough calluses.
Yeah, and their reasoning was that they want to feel more in nature, like or something
Yeah.
like that. Like they didn't like the way like their feet were confined. But I thought that was a joke or something. I don't know if people actually do that.
no,
but
they
yeah.
do that to get around the no shirt, no shoes
That's-
rule.
Huh.
You sure they don't want to be one with nature?
And the other thing too is that a lot of hippies will think that you get a lot of energy from the earth if you walk barefoot.
I can see
Oh.
that.
Yeah. So it's mostly hippies that do that.
So they're not
For
scared
me-
of like parasites.
I guess
I'd be more
not.
concerned about like glass or something. Stepping on a rock.
Well, that's the thing
Like-
because they've been walking on barefoot so long that they start to build calluses at the bottom of their foot.
So they're like hobbits then.
Yeah.
Oh.
So then,
Mm.
like walking on glass and stuff like that doesn't phase them.
Mm.
I think for me, one of the weirdest things. This is girl I went to middle school and high school with, right? But throughout middle school, almost till like my senior year of high school, right? She would never eat during lunch, and I would never see her, right? Even through high school, it just so happened that even though there's different lunch periods, she had the same lunch period as me, which was kind of weird. But she's a friend of mine, and I never like asked her why or why she doesn't like why is she never hungry during lunch or something like that. I never really like asked her throughout years of us being friends and stuff like that until during the senior year when she came to high school and stuff like that. During one time, I just straight up asked her because she was finally had braces during high school, but it was during high school, and I asked her, like, why don't you ever eat like during lunch with all of us? And then she told me it's because she had, in her words, she's like, my teeth is kind of fucked up, and I hate when people stare at me while I'm eating because my teeth is all messed up. And until I got my braces and everything, and I started to straight out my teeth, is when I finally got comfortable to finally eat in front of other people. But I'm always embarrassed of people looking at my teeth. And then I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense now. But you starve yourself until you get home to go eat? Like that's crazy. And she goes, yeah, I get used to it. So I'll eat before I go to school, and then I'll eat right after I get out of school. That's why I'm always running. And it's true because when the bus stops, and she didn't live that far away from me. I remember in middle school, and the moment the bus stops, you see her book it and run home. And I'm like, why is she always running?
Damn.
And it's because she's hungry. Yeah. But that was like the weirdest thing. Well, one of the weirdest things that I ever seen another student do, and I understood her logic why. It was just the embarrassment of her teeth. Her teeth wasn't that great,
Yeah, that's
in
a
her
valid
words.
point.
Yeah, but to me, I always thought it was like the weirdest thing. Like maybe she just doesn't eat. Maybe she's like immortal or something. Like, yeah,
She can survive of the blood of other people.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
or sucking the life energy from their feet. She probably don't wear shoes either. Okay, that's me. That's what I can think of. That's the weirdest thing. Well, there's multiple, but that's one of the weirdest ones that I actually had an answer for. All right, moving along. I bet you Meg can answer this one pretty well. What was a culture shock for you guys of another culture or tradition? Doesn't matter. Like when you went to El Salvador or you went to Honduras, you didn't bump into any culture shock? Or Meg,
Oh,
you went like everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, not everywhere, but you went to like a lot of places. Was there not like any place that you thought it was like a culture shock or it shocked you? All right,
I need
guys.
to think about
yeah, I
this.
got
I
one.
feel like I travel so much that I like know how to conform. I'm just like, okay, this is their way. I have to think about this.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
got
Marco,
one.
what you got?
So in Guatemala, like I remember when we would make sandwich or something, um, I was like, I realized, well, this was back then when I was little. They didn't have toasters.
I was actually just thinking about that.
They sold. You could buy already toasted bread, and I was like, for me, that was like the weirdest thing. I was like, how do they not have toasters here? I mean, now they do, but like back then when I was like little, like we would make like my mom would make us stuff like the bread wasn't like toasted or something, and then yeah, I found out that there was no toasters, and you could buy it already toasted. Like it comes, you know how you could buy bread here in a bag?
Yeah.
It would have come like that, just already toasted.
Oh,
And I thought that was like the weirdest thing ever.
that is weird.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Pre-sold toasted bread.
Mm-hmm.
Mine has to do with food too. There's always this little vendor. So outside of the house we used to live in Honduras, right? All dirt roads, no concrete, no nothing, right? So it's in the middle of nowhere, and there would be like this family, like this one guy carrying this this two-wheeled cart that had ice in it, like icy fruit.
Oh yeah,
They call it topoillo, right? So it's basically a bag of frozen fruit juice, right? And back then, I used to think, oh man, this guy's making something amazing. He should like patent it, whatever, right? It's
Uh-huh.
just like freaking high C inside a baggie, and you need to freeze it.
yeah.
It's just going around selling it. You know what I mean? It's
Isn't
like
it-
Yeah,
it's like putting Sunny D inside a bag
Yeah,
and freezing it.
yeah, like instead of slush, like they have here, like which is Italian ice, they have
Yeah.
like ice, and then they just like pick at it, and then it's crushed ice, and then they just put a like artificial flavoring over it. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's their version of slush.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. So
Yeah.
when I went back there when I was older, because I can understand more, and I'm like, oh, we had this at home. We just put it in the fridge.
Yeah,
Like I never bought anything from him again. So there's that, and kind of like what you said about the toasting thing. I was kind of surprised how little electricity we used.
Mhm.
We only used electricity for like the TV and the fan. That's literally it. Everything
Wow.
else we use like wood fire to cook our food.
Oh.
Everything. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Nighttime we just use like they do have like a light bulb in the middle of the living room, but everything else is like either candle or flashlight, whatever. It's really dark. But they finally added street lights finally, so it's not dark anymore. So
Yeah,
kudos to them. Yeah.
yeah. One thing that was normal over there too was like the lights would go out like throughout the whole block,
Mhm.
or like big sections. The lights would be gone for like an hour or so. Mind you, sometimes this would happen at night, so everything would be pitch black, and then it would come back,
That's
and
how
that
it
was just like normal for everyone.
It's exactly
Oh.
how it is. It's
So
super
power
dark.
outage is normal.
Yeah, like it would happen so often, and it was normal for people, and then we would have like, oh shit, it's dark, I can't see shit.
I think for me, the biggest culture shock is okay. So I never really traveled outside of North America. I'm just gonna say North America ever since I got to this country. But what was a culture shock for me, which I found out that it's part of the culture or tradition or whatever, right? So Cambodians, which is my ethnicity, Um, bef- before I used to hear people call each other husband and wife, right? Husband and wife, right? So there's a name for a husband and a wife. There's a word for it. So I'll say it for those who are Cambodian. So it's Padai, and Padai is husband and Papuan is wife, right? So when I went to go work with a bunch of other Cambodians and stuff like that, I would hear people call each other that. And when I was trying to do paperwork or help somebody with their tax form once, I asked him why didn't him and his wife file, together instead of file married but file separately, right? But instead, the both of them put single and single, which was kind of weird. I was like, "But you guys are married." And they're like, "What do you mean we're not married?" And I was like, "But no, everyone, you guys call each other husband and wife, and everyone else calls each other husband and wife." And then so they explained to me that this is okay. So this is weird. For us, it's gonna be weird, right? But this is how it works. If you live with each other and your boyfriend and girlfriend, you call each other and you're considered husband and wife. That word, husband and wife.
Oh.
Yeah. So the reason why everyone call each other Pray and Papun or call them like that couple Pray and Papun, right? As if they were married was because they live with each other. Because technically you don't live with each other until you get married. So that's how that
Mm.
term came to be. It was because of how America is slightly different, that people do move in with each other while they're dating or not married, right? Basically,
Mhm.
is is why America doesn't call each other husband and wife for that. So
Mhm.
that was like a shock to me because then I started questioning all the other people who was at the workplace because they kept calling their boyfriend husband, and all the other ones they kept calling them that's their wife. But then later I found out that's just boyfriend and girlfriend. It just means they live with each other, and I was like, well, that fucking threw me off.
No, I get that. I get
Yeah.
that. Central America can be like that.
Yeah.
Because with my ex, like, they used to be like, "Oh, where's your wife?" And I'm like, "Huh?"
Oh, so it's in Central America too?
Yeah,
Oh,
It's like a term of
yeah.
endearment.
Because when like,
yeah.
yeah, because there was one time when she came with us on a family vacation, and all my relatives and like they're like, "Oh, where's your wife?" And I'd be like, "Huh? What? Wife?" I'm like, "Oh, she's like over here or whatever." But yeah, it's weird. Yeah, they do that in Central America. First time they did that to me, it threw me off.
Yeah, and at work, I'm telling you, it was like took me over a year to realize that when they explained it to me.
Yeah.
So for a full year, no one explained it to me until then, and I was just shocked. I was like,
Wow.
wait, so most of you guys are not married? They're like, yeah, we're just dating.
They were all in on the joke. Just didn't want to
No,
talk.
the,
You could just
the
you could
number is
just
just so normal that like that's the way you call it. So it's boyfriend and girlfriend who
Mhm.
live with each other is called husband and wife, not by marriage. And I was like, oh, okay.
I could just imagine just like Kay hearing the glass breaking in the back of his head.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hold
So
on.
it was a culture shock for me. Yeah. Another culture shock for me too was when I went out when I was in UMass and I went out with some of my Korean friends. I remember this. I went out with some of my Korean friends and we were all drinking, right? And when we were drinking, mixed with like so you look at the environment, right? Um and I know this is kind of stupid of me, but it was mixed with a bunch of like Vietnamese and Cambodian people, and it was my Korean friends was there. But every single time they sat me next to this Korean girl, but every single time we would toast, we would drink. She would drink, but look at me every fucking time. And like just turn her head and then just drink like this while looking at me. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? I didn't know and then I was like, my friend started signaling to me, and he's Vietnamese, and he was like signaling to me, and he's like, "Yeah, I think she likes you." And I was like, "What do you?" I was like, "Why you say that?" He's like, "'Cause don't you notice every time she stares at you every time she takes a drink?" And I was
Oh my
like, I
gosh.
think that's weird." And then I like later on through the night, I just kept looking at her. I was like, "Are you showing me that you're drinking just to make sure that you drank it all?" And she goes, "No." And I was like, "So why you keep turning my way and then just keep drinking every single time? Like every time we take a shot?" And then she goes, "Oh, it's disrespectful to drink facing the front of the table if you're not the oldest." Huh?
So he basically said she said you were older. Basically,
It was like rating her, talking about it like through text with each other and all that stuff. And then
Oh my
I'm
god.
drinking normally in front of everyone because I'm not the oldest, but I was like one of the older people that was there.
yeah.
Right. maybe not by much, maybe 1 or 2 years older because we were in college. And then I was like, "What the fuck is this real?" And I turned to look at my other friend who is Korean and goes, "Yeah. So for us, because we're older, we could just look at each other and drink. But anyone who's younger like her, she can't. She has to turn away and drink." And I was like, "Then why do you keep turning to look at me?"
Yeah.
It threw me off. I was like,
That's
"Oh,
crazy.
She called you old respectfully.
she called me old respectfully. That's
That's right,
one.
yeah.
And number two was, here I am sitting across my other friend thinking that this girl was into me.
That must have been embarrassing that you like called her out, be like, "Do you like me or something?" Like,
Yeah, I was like, why do you keep that?
no,
and
I'm saying if you
yeah.
would have done that, that would have been embarrassing.
Yeah, that would be more
That was-
embarrassing.
Yeah, that was a culture shock for me. Oh, I apologize to all the Koreans out there and Cambodians too for the other culture shock. But I'm learning. All right, Meg. So you got something?
Yeah. I think for me is when I went to China. So I went all over, even the rural side. So when I go to a rural side, I noticed that they don't have refrigerators. So like if they have leftover, they will just put it in like a cabinet. Like and the cabinet door is like netted to keep like bugs and flies away, and then they'll just like it's like that's their refrigerator.
Wow.
And then the next day, they'll just, like, heat it up again and then eat it. And the food they'll eat the food for, like, the next 2 days. So they don't use refrigerators.
2 days. That's
Apparently, it's
crazy.
very common. Nobody gets sick.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure food goes. No, they have a particular amount of time before it goes bad. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. And then another one is in Europe, you probably hear about this, but they don't put the eggs in the refrigerator aisle. It's just,
Oh
like,
yeah,
That's
in
true.
the
yeah.
cereal aisle or something like that.
But are
Yeah,
they
because when
like?
I went to Germany, I noticed that my friend, one of my best friends, she lives in Germany, and when I visit her, she's like, "Oh, I need to grab some eggs or something." I'm like, "Okay." Like I'm walking to the refrigerator. She's just like, "No, the eggs are here." I'm just like, "Oh." I'm like, "Aren't they gonna go bad?" But apparently they do not go bad because they don't wash their eggs like the US. So when the eggs come out of the hen, there's this protective coating on it. And in the US, we wash the eggs before going to the grocery stores. But
Mm.
as for in Europe, they said that is already a protective layer, so they do not wash their eggs. That's why it can be left out in the
That's
open
interesting.
without being refrigerated.
That would have threw me off. I would have
Yeah,
went to the
the
fridge.
British do the same thing.
They're really
Yeah.
big on breakfast. They love their breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Another culture shock my friend explained to me. Well, my coworker actually, because she works for an airline, so she's traveled all over. So you know how some people say that the French smell. She explained it to
Yeah.
me why. She says that in France they don't have deodorant. They don't sell deodorant over there at all.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, they
I
don't.
actually
None of them.
didn't know that.
Yeah, she told me because
Yeah.
like when she was in France, she told me.
you know what's weird about that is that France is like one of the leading world for perfume,
That's true.
Yeah,
but they don't sell deodorant.
yeah. She told me because she went with like a friend and she forgot to take deodorant, and then when she was trying to look for looking around stores to buy some, like no one carried any of them.
Oh,
So
interesting.
they don't wear deodorants in
That I
France.
didn't know.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So that's why people say that the French smell and stuff like that. Because yeah,
I thought they smell good because all the perfume that comes from them.
I'm sure they just bathe themselves in it.
Use
So
it
they don't
to
smell
bask.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they
Yeah.
bathe in it.
Apparently, they had a huge bed bug like epidemic recently over there.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
All right, let's move along, shall we? Wait, anything else? Okay. Remember, you guys could always skip or add on to something. Stupid. No, we're not gonna do that one. Let's see here. Oops. So, how do you guys make friends nowadays at your age? Or how do you meet friends? Basically, how do you make and meet friends nowadays?
I trained them.
You train them? What the fuck?
I'm in charge of training at my workplace, so I just break the ice. Like, hey, you work here now. I have to train you. Like, you got to tell me about yourself, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I could just,
I make a lot of friends.
I could just imagine Jay there with
Back first.
yeah.
And it kind of came out wrong, but
Yeah. I just because like the moment you said it, I was just imagining you with a spray bottle. It's like bad friend, bad,
Like,
bad.
bad.
Don't do that, friend. Don't do that.
I imagine Jay like getting all the new hirees, the new employees. Like, all right, guys, we're gonna do some play some games. We can all get to know each other and this and that.
It's the worst. It's the worst. A lot of them are good friends, though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yeah, coworkers are usually they become friends.
yeah. That's
I feel like that's true, but to a certain extent. For me, before when I was not in the position of management, like I want to say like I don't know how many years ago that was, like maybe 4, 5, 7 years ago, whatever, maybe longer. I made a lot of friends with coworkers, but then at my position, I felt like I lost or like don't make friends so easily. In my
It's
position,
different if you're a manager.
yes.
Because, everyone else like us who are not managers, we come together to talk about you.
Hey, she's right. She's right.
I know she's right because I had people tell me all the time. You get like so it happens.
With my previous job, that's what happened. We all came together because we had a common beef.
Beef?
Yeah, common
Like
beef for someone.
Oh, beef. I thought you said thief like a burglar.
No, beef.
But she said beef like a cow. Beef. Yeah, beef.
Yes.
Oh, so you had a common enemy, and that made your guys'
Yeah.
friendship even
So
better.
that made us closer. Yeah, we actually went out to drinks on the weekend.
Alcohol.
Those are the
Yeah.
best. You just unwind, and be like, yeah, fuck this guy, fuck this manager.
Fucking Jay in his stupid meeting talking about being friends.
Yeah.
And it sucks because you're forced to talk to him because it's a manager, but you don't want to. It's like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
It's a love hate.
Yeah.
It's a love hate, K. Love hate relationship.
From what I'm told, a lot of my employees love me. From what I'm told, I mean, I believe it. Last Friday when I gave the final meeting before I switch over to first shift, I had a few of them cry.
did you give him a
It's a little
speech?
extreme.
Yeah, I gave him a speech because I wanted to explain to them about like, all right, I know I'm leaving to first shift next week, but I told him that like, look, I'm still your boss. I'm just on a different shift. I want you guys to run everything thinking as if I'm still sitting at my desk, right? I want them to keep the environment, the work environment the same as if I was there. And I know you guys all can't get along, but always remember what I taught you guys. We're not here to make friends. We're here, get our paycheck, and then work our 8 hours and get the fuck out. And then I told him, like, we ain't here to try to get along with everyone because that's going to be impossible. And remember, I don't like working hard. I like working. No, I like quality first. Quality is always more important. And I gave like all that speech and stuff like that. But then everyone was like, they were scared because they're like, before I was there, the environment was like just people. The turnover rate was high, just people leaving left and right because everyone was so strict. All the previous bosses, all the previous leads and stuff like that was so strict. It took me a while to go and change the environment. And now I have to go to first shift and then change that environment as well because we want it to be mirrored to each other.
Yeah.
But another way for it to be mirrored is you need a person to actually coach the other leads on the other shift so they would think and behave the same way as the other one.
Yeah.
But I'm not the best, right? But when I told them to like stop like getting teary eyed and stuff and worried because they I'm still there. I'm just on first shift. It's
But
like,
is someone is not? My question is someone going to be covering for you? Is this going to be? Or are they going to be unsupervised?
they're gonna be unsupervised because I trust my 3 leads that I've taught there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all 3 of them are like mirror versions. They know what will tick me off. They know what will get me like upset. And then when they do have a disagreement, they know to report to me and try to catch me on first shift, or they can call me.
Yeah.
Because I told all 3 of the leads that I'm only one phone call away, and I'm legit 5 minutes away. Like I would drive there if it's really, really important. Like the building's burning down. Don't call me if you're bored, because I know some of you watch this. Don't call me just because you're bored and you're wondering what I'm up to. But for important things like that, like machinery problems, computer problems, stuff like that, or even HR related problems if people are having arguments and stuff like that. They know how I want things, so I trust them enough. It took me a while to build some trust with them, so I have faith that they will be fine unsupervised. They can watch that whole building by themselves, all three of them together as a team, the leads.
Yeah.
And I'm going to first shift, which went from 30-ish people, 40-ish people. Now I'm going to have another 80 of a completely different team. Completely different teams with an S,
So basically,
actually.
you're starting from scratch almost. You have to know everybody.
Get to
build
know them,
trust.
build trust, train them, recondition them because they were taught us the old school way of where everything is like a strict environment, stuff like that. And I have to teach them about team building, morale, goals, and how to drive a team and motivate and things like that. Which is gonna take me. It's gonna take me a bit.
4 years.